Oscar Wilde, one of the most celebrated writers of the late 19th century, was a figure of immense talent, wit, flamboyance, and tragedy. Born in Dublin, Ireland, on October 16, 1854, he grew to become a towering icon of literature, known for his brilliant plays, biting social commentary, and his only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. His life, however, was as dramatic as his writings, marked by artistic triumphs, public scandals, and personal downfall. Early life and education. Oscar Fingal O'Flaherty Wills Wilde was born into a well-educated and socially prominent Anglo-Irish family. His father, Sir William Wilde, was a renowned ear and eye surgeon as well as an amateur antiquarian and author. His mother, Jane Wilde, née L.G., was a poet and Irish nationalist who wrote under the pseudonym Speranza. Wilde grew up in an intellectually stimulating household, where art, politics, and literature were part of everyday conversation. He was educated at the Portora Royal School in Enniskillen before winning a scholarship to Trinity College Dublin, where he excelled in classics. His academic success continued at Magdalen College, Oxford, where he won the Newdigate Prize for his poem Ravenna in 1878. It was at Oxford that Wilde adopted the aesthetic principles of art for art's sake, influenced heavily by figures such as John Ruskin and Walter Pater. His flamboyant dress, sharp wit, and commitment to beauty and pleasure quickly distinguished him from his peers. Rise to fame. After graduating from Oxford, Wilde moved to London and cultivated a public persona as a dandy and aesthete. He gave lectures across the UK and America on topics such as the decorative arts and the importance of beauty in life. His mannerisms, flowing hair, and famously sharp epigrams made him a celebrity in Victorian society. Wilde began publishing poetry and essays during the 1880s, and though his early works gained attention, it was his later prose and plays that solidified his reputation. His only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1890, was both praised and criticized for its decadent themes and philosophical undertones. It tells the story of a man who remains outwardly young and beautiful while his portrait absorbs the corruption of his soul. Critics accused the novel of immorality, though it has since become a classic of English literature. His theatrical career brought him immense popularity and critical acclaim. Between 1892 and 1895, Wilde wrote a series of successful comedies that satirized Victorian society, including Lady Windermere's Fan, A Woman of No Importance, An Ideal Husband, and his masterpiece The Importance of Being Earnest. These plays showcased his brilliance in dialogue, his ironic perspective on social norms, and his deep understanding of human behavior. Personal life and scandal. Wilde married Constance Lloyd in 1884, and they had two sons, Cyril and Vivian. However, his private life began to overshadow his public persona in the early 1890s. He developed a close relationship with Lord Alfred Douglas, a young aristocrat and poet. Their passionate and tumultuous relationship would eventually lead to Wilde's downfall. Douglas's father, the Marquess of Queensberry, strongly disapproved of the relationship and publicly accused Wilde of being a homosexual, an accusation that was illegal in Britain at the time. Wilde, encouraged by Douglas, sued the Marquess for libel, but the trial backfired. The evidence brought to court exposed Wilde's homosexual relationships, and he was arrested and charged with gross indecency. In 1895, Oscar Wilde was convicted and sentenced to 2 years of hard labor. He was imprisoned in Reading Jail, and his health deteriorated severely during his time there. Despite the suffering, he wrote one of his most profound works while in prison, De Profundis, a long letter addressed to Lord Alfred Douglas that reflects on his life, love, suffering, and spiritual growth. Later years and death. Wilde was released from prison in 1897 and lived the remainder of his life in exile, primarily in France. He assumed the pseudonym Sebastian Melmoth and lived in relative poverty. In 1898, he published The Ballad of Reading Gaol, a moving poem about his prison experience and a powerful critique of the penal system. By this time, Wilde was a broken man. Estranged from his family, and with his reputation destroyed in England, he relied on the kindness of friends and admirers. He converted to Roman Catholicism on his deathbed, a faith he had long admired. Oscar Wilde died on November 30, 1900, at the age of 46, in a cheap Parisian hotel. His last words are famously quoted as, "Either that wallpaper goes, or I do." He was buried in the Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris, where his grave remains a site of literary pilgrimage. Legacy. Despite the scandal that marred his later life, Wilde's literary genius has endured. His wit, insight, and elegance of language remain unmatched, and his works are studied and performed around the world. His life story has also come to symbolize the tragic consequences of societal intolerance and the struggle for personal freedom. Oscar Wilde is remembered not only for his artistic brilliance but for his courage to live authentically in an age of hypocrisy. His influence continues to shape literature, theater, and discussions around identity, art, and human dignity.